So, a couple of weeks ago, I made a video about Doctor Who being dead. And, well, I was just kind of predicting the future based upon all the writing that was on the wall. And I think a lot of people have done that. And you can certainly see a lot of content here from Mr. H Reviews to Critical Drinker to Mr. Cohen. And, of course, obviously me. Well, and pretty much every other outlet. And the weirdest thing is the shills can't stop supporting this show, despite the fact that recent events have shown nobody's watching Doctor Who. And before we get started, just a really quick reminder that, of course, I'm a sponsor of myself. If you take a look right down here, we have, well, my website, beachpunk.us, and that's where you can get all your great Culture Casino merchandise and many other creators that I work with on the regular. But there's water bottles, beanies, hats, shirts, long sleeve t-shirts. You've got a huge assortment of goods to pick from. And since we're in summer, swimsuits as well. But I'm not here to promote that other than that little blurb there at the front. I'm here to talk about the death of a property that I was, well, quite fond of. Doctor Who. We are fully and officially in Dismal Disney death rattle time. In fact, this is so Disney now that some outlets have come forward and said this is the first season of Disney Doctor Who. And if that's the case, it's well and truly lost, despite who they brought in, Russell T Davies, to rescue this product. Well, it's well beyond rescue at this point. It's put in for very good reasons, because Russell T Davies has done nothing but insert his own personal identitarian pursuits into this. He is 100% driving this in a way that will ensure there will be fewer and fewer viewers going forward. It's quite possible that the people will maybe leave off at season 11 of the original Doctor Who and call it a day. Some people might make it into the next season, who knows, but I can tell you that after 2 years of Jodie Whittaker, or 3 years, I should say. Oh, wow, was it that long? Well, however long it was, those years of Jodie and the years of chin balls are, well, basically the death knell in the coffin. And everything that comes after is essentially the shambling shell, the zombie of a former great, fun, campy franchise. But hey, let's get through some of the articles that talk about this and why. Well, according to Vulture, they have some reasoning on why it went over to Disney Plus, because they needed the Disney money to keep moving forward. And of course, the ratings bear out the fact that there's no audience for this anymore. This is the launch of season 14 after early iPlayer debut, and it premiered in the middle of the night on the iPlayer, I guess, and then was later replayed on BBC One in the evening. And all of the excuses for the poor ratings seem to be blaming Eurovision and the good weather. The good weather at 6 in the evening? Are people still out enjoying the sunshine then? Maybe. Hard to say, but even Radio Times can't gin up enough lies to cover up for the fact that this show and these early numbers went from Space Babies, the first episode, which was watched by 2.6 million viewers, with The Devil's Cord, the second episode of the night, having an overnight audience lowered to 2.4 million. They lost 200,000 people between episodes. Now, mind you, maybe people didn't want to stay up that late, but it's certainly close to the lowest numbers that Doctor Who has ever seen. And to be fair, GB News gets it right here, saying BBC Doctor Who branded woke and unwatchable as ratings plummet following return to screens. I guess it's a fancy way of saying this thing sucks rocks and certainly is woke. So Doctor Who fans have been left, well, truly divided by the latest regeneration of the long-running sci-fi show, helmed by Russell T Davies and fronted by the new Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa, and his sidekick, Ruby. The latest series style always promised to break away from its predecessors, none least thanks to a huge injection of funding from Disney. The series is shipped in the U.S. via streaming service Disney Plus, and its CGI and increase in production value were plain to see throughout the double bill opener. Fans were introduced to God Was Doctor. Of course, we've already seen that and when it happened, and was confronting a I can't say the words. Words are hard today. Controversial, good gravy, new villain Maestro, played by Jinx Monsoon. If you're interested, look that up. But yeah, this was not something that people were looking forward to in any way. And, well, here's the overnight ratings for the BBC One premiere, which was an underwhelming 2.6 million and 2.4 million on BBC One. Not even just the iPlayer digital premiere, which of course was streaming and was released earlier than all of this. But, you can't account for the streaming thing, and I'm sure they're going to hide that as long as they possibly can so they can try to make it look better. But look, there was definitely cause for this. And what was it? Well, attacking the fans. Once again, Shooty Got Was Doctor Who, coming from that Park Place, ratings plummet after he told viewers, don't watch, turn off the TV. We knew that this was going to come back to bite them in the hindquarters, so much so that I talked about it in a previous video right up here, and just how broken and dead Doctor Who actually was. So, yeah, after Shooty Gatwa told the audience to turn off the TV, overnight ratings appear to indicate that many took his advice, as the numbers are terrible. And again, I'll keep running over the 2.6 to 2.4 million viewers that fell off. 200,000 people just said, enough, this first episode's terrible. The second one is even worse, from what I'm to understand, because you get a little pronouns lesson all over again. It's got nearly a 50% decline in viewership for both episodes compared to Shooty Gatwa's debut episode in the Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road, which the special saw about 4.7 million in overnight numbers. Again, this is indicative of what you will come to expect from this new and more divisive Doctor Who. So that means Space Babies saw viewership decline by just shy of 45%, and The Devil's Cord declined by just 49%. That's a lot of people, nearly 50% of people. The massive decline in viewership comes in the wake of The Church on Ruby Road, already setting records for terrible viewership. Gatwa's debut ratings are the second worst in the show's entire history. In fact, Jodie Whittaker's debut episode in The Woman Who Fell to Earth had an overall viewership of 10.96 million. Mostly, I would guess, out of curiosity. Probably. I can't imagine any other reason you would turn into that. But the only Doctor Who debut that Gatwa's debut beat was the first episode of Doctor Who with William Hartnell as the first Doctor in An Unearthly Child. That episode aired all the way back in 1963 and premiered to 4.4 million viewers. And I will reiterate, as I did in my last video, which again is right up there, that there were far fewer people in the UK at that point in time. So, yeah, that viewership would climb for Hartnell's first Doctor over the next 10 episodes, and initially it went to 5.9 million, then to 6.9. By episode 7, hit 8.9, and by the time you get to 10, it had 10.4 million people, all the way back when the UK had a much, much smaller population. So on top of the nearly 50% decline in overnight ratings, the show from the Christmas special, numbers we were talking about, it comes in wake of Gatwa telling people not to watch the show. In a recent interview with Variety, He seemingly promote the show, Gatwa did absolutely the opposite in that interview. So there you go. Go touch grass. I think a lot of people did. And of course, it didn't help that you get Jinx Monsoon out there shooting off their mouth. To people who have issues, the show that you loved was created by a queer person. Get over it. A lot of people are really going to love this, and I think this season is going to create a lot of new Doctor Who fans. Well, you better hope so. Although I don't know how the extreme minority of people you're trying to draw in is not going to make up for all those lost. So this is just ignorance, right? And if we lose some of the, here we go, transphobic ones, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Monsoon added, there's a lot of toxicity about the gender and other folks conversation in the 70s, yada, yada, yada. So they're just trying to take it all back to this. There's a lot of people that will not be watching the show now or in the future. And I don't know what to say other than that. Other than there's already been backlash against publications that have been shilling super hard for this season of Doctor Who because the British magazine Metro deleted. They didn't appear to delete. They deleted their X account after telling white men that Doctor Who was never made just for you. Interesting. So yeah, they definitely went right after him. And by the way, I think you can still read that article. So Bob Hamstead reported on X the accounts Metro UK and Pride UK org have deleted their entire Twitter profiles this weekend after provocative tweets simply pushed people too far. These are not the actions of a progressive political movement. Indeed. In fact, that's the problem. The progressives have been taken over by extremists, and they don't align very well with classic liberal or even the more aggressive progressive side of things at all. In fact, if anything, and Script Doctor pointed this out in a recent Midnight's Edge in the Morning stream, this is rather regressive. I don't think there's any way to recover here. And you are welcome to go read the articles and everything that's been written about this particular magazine, Metro. But I don't know. I tell you what, in a show that I enjoyed for all of what it was and what it was supposed to be, they've stripped out any of the things that I used to care about. And they did it rather abruptly, so quickly, in fact, that I think most fans got whiplash with Jodie Whittaker, to be fair. And then when everything got more and more extremely divisive, I think basically anybody that was a hardcore fan was shaken. And by the time we get to now, I doubt it's possible to recover the audience. The brand damage is just too much. Too much. And you can say that about a lot of Disney things, and make no mistake, this is now Dismal Disney's Doctor Who, which is why, as it says in the thumbnail, well, this is the death rattle. I'm very interested in hearing what you have to say about this, so leave me some comments down below. And if you look down there and you see our little red subscribe button, click on it and turn it to gray and be one of the people that follow me every single day for my live streams, my videos, and occasional polls in the community tab. And if you're really interested in my content, you can become a member and have your voice heard in member live streams. And depending upon the tier, such as high rollers, even be part of a public live stream where we discuss issues like this. On that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya.